Have you ever wondered why some designs feel calm and safe while others feel a little edgy and bold? Maybe even a little intimidating? It's not just color or typography, it's shape. A shape could feel like a whisper, a shout, a hug, or provoke, without uttering a single word. In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into the psychology of shape and how you could intentionally use it in your design work. Whether you are a student, a creative professional, or someone just design curious, this video is for you. And trust me, after we're done with this, you are going to look at shapes in a very different way. So let's get into it. Shape is one of the fundamental elements of graphic design. And the way that we define what a shape is any enclosed space created by line, color, or texture. And we usually break up shape into three categories. First, we have geometric. Think circles, squares, or triangles. It is clean, consistent, and reliable. And then next we have organic, which is any shape that is found in nature. And we define this group of shapes as any shape that's irregular, flowing, or emotional. And then finally we have abstract shapes. These are stylized or simplified versions of real things. These are shapes that live in logos, icons, and modern art. And these categories aren't just visual, they are also psychological. Each shape sends a subconscious message. So let's break it down. First up, we have circles, and there is no beginning or end. Circles represent wholeness, unity, eternity. We instinctively associate circles with things like unity, femininity, and harmony. And that's why you tend to find circles in brands like wellness, tech, and community. And fun fact, we literally prefer round shapes. Babies look longer at circular objects, and we as adults tend to describe them as pleasant or soft. And next up, we have squares and rectangles. Squares are stable, dependable, and predictable. They suggest things like structure and trust. You often see squares in branding for finance, education, and government. They imply things like seriousness and professionalism. And next up, we have triangles. They are sharp, they direct, they point energy. A triangle can feel like motion or aggression depending on the direction. It can convey things like progress if it's pointing up, danger if it's pointing down, or speed if it's angled sideways. Throughout history, the triangle has been used for a symbol of hierarchy and power. You can think of things like pyramids and warning signs. Okay, so now let's talk about organic shapes. Organic shapes, they feel alive. They are very much imperfect and expressive. These are the type of shapes that you use when you want your work to feel human, approachable, or artistic. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about abstract shapes. Abstract shapes evoke feelings without representing a specific object. They are often used in branding to convey concepts. Think of things like innovation, emotion, without literal imagery. Okay, now let's talk about why shapes make us feel certain things. Psychologists believe that our reactions to shapes is both biological and cultural. Biological because our brains are naturally wired to see things like sharp shapes as a threat and curved shapes as safe. And cultural in the sense that squares remind us of systems and buildings. And circles show up in things like religious art and cultural rituals. Studies in neuroscience show that the amygdala lights up more in response to sharp shapes than curved ones. And as you could probably imagine, this has implications in things like UX, advertising, and product design. Okay, so how do you use shapes intentionally? When I'm personally designing, I always like to step back and ask myself, what is the shape saying before the viewer reads any of the text? You can use circles for things like warmth, community, and continuity. Use squares for things like structure, trust, and reliability. Use triangles for things like motion, attention, or innovation. And you could play around and mix shapes to create contrast. A little homework I have for you is to go back and try to make a layout only using shapes. Do this before adding any imagery and type. This will help you build a strong emotional foundation. Let's look at a couple iconic designers and how they use shape. First, we have the Bauhaus movement. The Bauhaus movement was known for being geometric, minimal, and experimental. This movement shaped how we think of form and function in visual design. And next we have Saul Bass. He used minimal shapes to create maximum impact. Think the jagged cutout in The Man with the Golden Arm. One shape and total emotion. And next we have Paula Scher. She plays with contrast. Rigid versus loose. Structured versus wild. These designers don't just use shape randomly. They manipulate emotion. So yeah, shapes aren't just decoration. They could be used as tools for persuasion. Shapes speak before your color, your copy, or your photos do. So next time that you're designing, zoom out a bit and try to think about what your shapes are saying emotionally. I hope this video gave you a new perspective, and if it did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more design psychology breakdowns just like this because I make videos every week. And let me know in the comments, how do you use shape and why? That's all I have for you for now. See you next time. Bye.